So I've come down to a local copse of woods, which you see just behind me in shot now, and I'm going to see what I can find in here. There's a lovely sort of old fallen stump here behind me, and I think that might be my second shot of the day. A few weeks ago there was actually the tree was just on the ground there, and I got some shots on some black and white film, which as I'm filming this I haven't had developed yet, but hopefully by the time this comes out I'll be able to show you what that looked like. It's great to revisit these locations, and because it's my local woodland I can do that and see how they change over time. So I'll have a little wander in this copse and see what I can find, and I'll show you along the way. So I've waded into this little sort of sea of nettles here, and there's some lovely dappled light spilling across the scene behind me, and what particularly caught my eye was these two branches or trunks here sort of intertwining, and then as I sort of searched the scene to find balance within the composition, I noticed that there were two other trees to the right of it. So I've decided to include those in the composition, and I feel as though the space between them and the framing just gives a bit of depth to the image. So I'm absolutely loving the light in this scene. There's a nice harsh contrast. And that backlighting against this sort of rolling sea of nettles and actually a sticky willy here is absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to explore the scene and see if I can't grab a composition or two. Taking you off the tripod for a minute, I found an intimate scene here which is lovely, shooting some of the wider stuff before, but I really like the moss on this particular fallen log here, so I've decided to put the medium format camera onto the tripod so I can get really nice and low down to the ground, and it's also in a bit of shade with some dappled light over the scene, so it's just a case of waiting for that right little spot of light to hit the moss, and using about 1/15 of a second, so I wasn't too comfortable hand holding that. I'll flip you around now and show you what it looks like. So just as I was setting up right behind you where the last scene was, I sort of turned around and saw beautiful light coming across the conifers here. And I thought it made for a bit more of an abstract, close-up photograph. I'm going to grab it quickly before the light changes too much. Love just walking around Woodland. It's been a great sort of 45 minutes to an hour just exploring, and it's not a very big area, it's only about 2 acres or so. There's a mix of conifers and oak trees, and at this particular time of year there's lovely beds of nettles flowing through the woodland floor, and hopefully if we're lucky we'll get some bluebells popping up in a few weeks' time. Particularly like shooting on film when I'm out on these walks. I think it's just a sort of mental diary of all the little scenes that I see, and part of me loves recording what's going on as the seasons change, and part of me just loves interacting and appreciating all aspects of nature. There's been some buzzards flying through the woods, and I've heard the birds chirping and the wind blowing through the leaves. It's been a very peaceful and just almost restorative walk today. I'll be interested to see how these photographs turned out. My meter's been playing up a bit actually throughout the walk, so we'll see if I've metered correctly or not. I didn't change my exposure too much except for when I came into the woodland and it got a bit more dark in the shade. But yeah, I'll wrap the video up here and see you next time. Cheers! Well, I hope you enjoyed episode 1 of In Search of Trees. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you're wanting to see more content like this, then consider subscribing to the channel. Cheers!